At this hour, the funeral processions for Naftali Frankel, Gilad Sher, and Al Yifrach, the three Israeli teenagers murdered by Palestinian terrorists whose bodies were found last night, are getting underway. By decision of the three grieving families, the boys are being laid to rest side by side in the Modi'in cemetery as the funeral processions arrive from their respective communities of Elad, Nof Ayalon, and Talmon. 18 days of intensive searches for the three Israeli teenagers ended sadly yesterday evening with the discovery of the bodies. IBA's Margot Dudkevich has more.
The search for the three Israeli teenagers ended tragically yesterday afternoon when soldiers of the Army's elite units, Maglan and Kfir, and volunteers from Gush Etzion discovered their bodies buried underneath a pile of stones in a field in a valley between Beit Khalil and Khalkhul, northwest of Hebron. The site is less than a 10-minute drive from the Gush Etzion intersection where the boys were abducted on June 12th.
At 5 p.m., the IDF exposed in an open field not far from here, a pile of rocks, and beneath the rocks we found, to begin with, two bodies, and then as we dug deeper, we found a third body. Currently the IDF is ongoing, the mission is ongoing, and we are putting all of our effort to bring the perpetrators of this attack to justice.
According to security evaluations, the three boys were shot dead shortly after they were kidnapped. Officials estimate that after the boys entered a vehicle that stopped to pick them up at the hitchhiking station, one of them managed to alert police on the hotline of their abduction. Police believe the call to be a prank and failed to alert the security establishment until hours later, when one of the boys' parents notified police their son was missing. Officials estimate that shortly after the call, they were shot. The kidnappers swapped cars after setting the first vehicle on fire near Dura, and then drove to a field where they hastily buried the bodies, covering them with foliage and rocks. In the burnt-out car discovered by Palestinian firefighters, Israeli security officials found bullets, a revolver and other materials that raised serious concerns for their well-being. Much of the investigation was placed under censorship. Last night, the bodies were transferred to the Abu Kabir Forensic Institute to undergo testing and final identification. The discovery culminated 18 days of intensive searches for the three teenagers. The day following their abduction, the Shin Bet security service identified Hamas terrorist Marwan Kawasme and Amar Abu Aisha as being responsible for the kidnapping after they discovered the two had gone missing from their homes the same night the three Israeli teenagers were kidnapped. The Shin Bet began piecing together the scraps of intelligence that led them to advise the army to focus a search for the three teenagers in the area west of Khalkhul. For over 2 weeks, Israeli security forces combed the West Bank, searching day and night for the three Israeli teenagers. Margot Dudkevich, IBA News.
The search for the murderers of the three